Hello, everyone, again. Welcome to another Untitled movie show. This is part two, really, if you think about it, since the last one was Matrix, the first one. Now we're covering both sequels because they're one movie. They're
Yes.
one 4-hour movie,
Yeah.
which is exactly how I watch them. I am your host, as always, JJ, and over there, my good buddy, my good friend Jake. Jake, how you doing over there?
Good, good.
Good.
I actually didn't watch these movies because I didn't really feel like the first one last week, but I watched it. But since these are pretty new for me and I watched them kind of a buttload in like December and January, they're fresh on my mind. It's not like Star Wars where the dust is cleared and I like kind of have to rewatch them to get impressions. Like my impressions are still there.
I watched them back to back yesterday night.
That's how I watch them, or at least in one day.
Yeah.
That's how they should be watched.
Theoretically, it's how they were made, I guess.
That is how they were made.
Yeah, so it makes sense to slog through 4 hours of Matrix.
Well, I mean, the thing with Reloaded is the first time you watch it, you're like, this doesn't go anywhere. And then the Revolutions, you're like, oh, this goes everywhere. So you're like, oh, it's just one movie. It makes sense.
This came out, Reloaded came out May 15th, 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when Revolutions came out. Let's
It was like October, I think.
Yeah, it's like let's. I should have been prepared with my notes and everything. But no, of course
it was going to come
out.
out. They were going to come out earlier, but Aaliyah died, so they had to reshoot her stuff.
She was going to be Z. I think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was.
It opened November 5th, 2003.
Almost October.
Day after my birthday. Day after my birthday is when The Matrix came out.
5 days is far enough in to go, oh, it's November? Thanksgiving's coming up. Damn it. My wife informed me of Mother's Day coming up, and I was like, oh, that's not canceled too?
Nobody's making you go there, but...
Yeah, I was glad to miss Easter. That we're going to keep doing that.
I mean, you know.
So, did you like the Matrix 2?
No.
I'm saying 2 as in the whole sequel.
Yeah, no, not really. I don't know. There's enough about it that I just didn't like.
For me, the only thing I don't like is just how uneven Reloaded is. Like, I wish they mixed up the plot a little bit with the robust action scenes.
Yeah, even knowing what I knew about Reloaded and having had seen most of Reloaded, I couldn't. I tried to really enjoy it. You know what I really didn't like about either of these movies is the soundtrack really bothered me for some reason.
Did it?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like super generic with like weird musical stings and it was like super campy in a lot of ways. I don't know.
Like the electronic stuff or like the score?
The score.
Mm.
Like it just felt inappropriate a lot of times, or like overly produced a lot of times, or like at the end of Reloaded where they pan to Bane? Was that his name? What was his name?
Yeah, Bane.
Yeah. And they pan to him and it does the like dun dun dun.
Yeah, to be concluded.
Yeah. I was just like, okay. I had more fun in the original movie where it sort of peppered in sort of 90s music from time to time.
Yeah.
Once in a while, but this one was just straight score. There was none of that.
No.
Technically, this movie still takes place in 1999.
Yeah.
Because it's only 6 months later.
Hey, if you realized the world wasn't the world, you would not be listening to Rob Zombie anymore. I love the no, I'm not too big on techno in general, but I love the music in the freeway scene.
Yeah.
I always get that in my head, then I want to watch it.
Like, I don't... The action stuff doesn't bother me at all. It's really... It's like with the original movie, the look of it and like the way everything is choreographed and everything is still really fun to look at, but as a movie I'm just like, nah, I'm not, nah. Nope, not for me.
I always think of with Man of Steel because the action scenes are pretty long in that one too.
Yeah.
While they're cool, they're very long. I remember telling my friend about it. He's like, "Who cares? They're awesome." And I was like, "That's a good point."
Yeah.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
one because you got like I've never looked at it, but I think it's like an hour 10, maybe an hour 20 of dialogue scenes,
Yeah.
and you kind of get into it, and then he talks to one of the head of the council dude, and they're like, ugh. And then they go to the scene with the Merovingian, and you're like, and you're just like, then he's talking to the Oracle, and you're like, ugh. And then you get this giant action scene. Like I said before, it's all good stuff.
Yeah,
It just is very uneven.
Boy, that freeway scene is long too.
It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like right after the Smith scene
Yeah.
with all the Smiths.
Yeah.
Because on that one, I was like, why doesn't he just fly away from the beginning? But then again, watching, I was like, who's trying to beat him? He thinks he can beat him. Then after there's a million of them coming out, then he has to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah. I found myself, like, drifting out of attention. Like, there were times where I'm like, wait a minute, what? Having to go back a little bit. Did I miss something? I was like, no, they're just being vague a lot of times or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But,
Well, my favorite part.
Every aspect of the movie is a MacGuffin, which is kind of obnoxious a little bit. Like, Neo
Yeah.
himself is a MacGuffin. You got the Keymaster or whatever.
Mhm.
The Keymaker. What is it? Keymaker?
Keymaker.
Because Keymaster would be Ghostbusters.
Keymaker. There you go. Mixing up your sci-fi.
The gatekeeper and the Keymaster.
The Keymaker.
Yeah. Boy, this movie, these two combined are just like a really edgy Tron. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Tron. Straight down to the giant talking face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's weird at times. I'm like, boy, this really is like a little bit of Tron, a little bit of Neon Genesis Evangelion and anime.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot of, like, influenced by other stuff kind of stuff. Like, it is very heavily influenced by Tron in these two. You can tell.
Oh, yeah. I love the big face. I love what he says when he says that we don't need you, we need nothing, which sounds like something that like Trump would say, or some some dictator or whatever.
Yeah, or Master Control Panel from Tron. Like,
yeah. My favorite part about it was because you don't know what Neo's doing. He just leaves, and he's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know I have to go there, which is cool. And then so he goes to the machine thing. And normally in these kind of movies, there's a big epic fight, which we have in this, but it's all different. And of course, I'm not knocking the big epic fight. I love the big epic fight. But with this, it's like, okay, there's this bad guy that's an enemy for both of us. If I stop him, you stop fighting us, and then that's going to end the war. It's basically going to be a truce.
Yeah.
And we're not. No one's going to win. We're just going to stop. And you need me to do this, and you know it. And so I was like, "Whoa!" I had no idea that's where that was going, which totally blew me away. And I mean, it's funny because so the one is there to stop the war. That's like what his purpose or prophecy or whatever is. But the one creates Smith. Because for every action, there is a reaction, and there's a positive and a negative. Yeah, so for the one to exist, there has to be the anti-one, which is the many, which is all the Smiths. So he creates him by becoming the one. So for him to stop the war, he exists only because the bad guy exists, and vice versa.
The scene with the architect in Reloaded is... part of it's really entertaining because it's really visually very cool.
Yeah. A lot of info.
But it is almost like bad writing in a sense where it's just like, we're not going to have anything sort of organically come out through the story. We're just going to have the Deus Ex Machina character.
That's what the big face is called.
Yeah.
That's what they call a big face.
Yeah. But, just like, here is the character that's pulling the strings, and he's just gonna tell you every single like twist and turn of the plot, like in one singular scene, and that scene goes on for a good amount of time.
It does.
The scene with the architect and
the architect,
it's like, he's pretty good at this. I wonder what else he's done, and the answer is not much. He's
really good. That was the scene that they wanted Sean Connery to do, and Sean Connery didn't understand it, so he didn't do it. again, I don't know if he didn't understand what he was saying,
Yeah.
why it was supposed to be good, or just what he was reading. And it was just in Japanese to him. He was just reading it, and it just made no sense at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's insane that I mean I think they picked. I think that's a better actor choice. But like an
Or an unknown.
I don't know if Sean Connery twirled around in the chair and was the architect. I don't know.
He's like, apropos.
Yeah, I don't know how I could have handled that or how seriously I could have taken it.
Yeah.
You know, just be.
Yeah, you can't have the big surprise be a celebrity. It's kind of like in Inception or Interstellar when the big reveal and you're like, Matt Damon. Damon. It's like kind of distracts you because you're like, that's Matt Damon.
It's like I just saw him in another space movie, and now here he is in this space movie.
He's like, well, Ben was in Armageddon, so I had to be in something.
But yeah, so yeah.
Did you notice? So you know how he's in the room they're in with all the screens?
Mm-hmm.
In the first movie, you see the room with all the screens, and then the camera goes into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to be that, but someone pointed that out.
100% supposed to be that. Whether it had been intentional or it's like, you know how we did that in the first movie? What if that was?
I mean intentional when they made the first movie.
Yeah.
I do love that in the first one when the camera goes into the screen. Yeah. That's very, very cool effect.
Everything's computers and screens in this movie, so why not have it be that?
Yeah. I absolutely love. I always forget it because there's so much other cool stuff in Revolutions, but the fight in the beginning when they're in a club hell and they jump upside down on the ceiling is so cool. It's just so killer.
The wire work is very bad in this movie.
Yeah.
Very bad.
It's really bad, especially the scene when Neo fights. I can't think it was Sarif or whatever, the dude who's like the bodyguard of the Oracle. Mm-hmm. When they like have that little unnecessary fight. When they jump on the tables.
It looks,
and that fight's totally unnecessary.
Both. Every time they're doing the wire work, and they went with the simulated camera for like their effects and stuff this time, and it really screws up some of the cool visuals from that original movie.
What do you mean the simulated? Like the digital stuff?
The camera isn't like, it's not like they're doing a practical camera for a lot of the
totally
stuff. They're using basically CG cameras, basically. So,
like when Neo's on the pole and he's like circling around and they're all digital and you're like, you're almost there, guys. You're almost there.
Yeah, it's like, but it's 2003, so they would have been working on it, and end of 2001, 2002, doing a lot of this digital effects and stuff. Where things weren't quite there yet for some of this high end stuff. They were really swinging for the fences visually on this movie.
They used the Attack of the Clones camera for that.
Yeah,
or maybe it was the next model. I don't know, but I know that they used it for a couple shots. Like when everything's all digital, they went for it.
Yeah.
When Neo gets that pole, that is so badass.
Yeah,
like when he pulls it out of the ground, he hits that guy, then all the concrete falls off, and then the move when he like hits the guy and he like drops it on their shoulders and he like punches the other guys, then he hits them and then it falls and he kicks it into somebody.
And I guess in a lot of such, because like the effects of like when he's about to fly and he's making the rippling effect and everything, it looks bad. But I guess it's all taking place in a simulation. Yeah. So you get to sort of play with some of the rules of reality with this. Like, it looks bad, but he is manipulating a computer program, so okay, whatever.
It's,
like, it's, fine.
Totally.
I'll let you slide on that. It still looks bad, but at least I can give it an in-universe explanation.
Totally. There's the when they're in Zion, when they're down in the cave, and there's the camera right behind them, and like when Morpheus and I don't know who else gives a speech, that's like a real. Every time I look at that, I'm like, God, that's the worst blue screen. I watched the making of. It's not blue screen. I mean, like way out there is, but like for the foreground, that's all real, and I'm like, why does this look so bad?
Boy, I didn't know that wasn't blue screen.
I know. It looks like in Heat when De Niro's on the balcony talking to her. It looked like that kind of blue screen, like but it wasn't.
Or like matte painting or something. Like, but it's not.
I guess the lighting was just bad.
Yeah, it must have just been real bad, and maybe just like not the best set design. I guess.
I don't know.
Boy, that's surprising to me.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe hell, I don't know. Maybe they're real in the front, but. So when they shot them from the crowd, they were there. But maybe when they went behind, I don't know. I swear I saw them the same angle, but it was all real. I know. Lawrence Fishburne, for some reason, his acting's kind of weird in this movie. He like
Yeah,
does way more of the like kind of robot. Like he kind of does it in the first one, but in this one, he like way does it.
yeah, he overdoes the stoic, emotionless
Yeah.
kind of like because like he has the speech where he's like just in the weird tattered robe with all of
Hmm.
his little ports and stuff. I am not afraid,
Yeah.
and it's just the whole movie is acted like the I am not afraid. I am just a robot, and
Yeah.
it's weird. You're right. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Because when
because
they're in the
he was so good in the first one. Like he
yeah.
really knew sort of. I think he was. His character was a little better in Revolutions. I don't,
Mm,
it's Revolutions, right?
yes,
Okay.
with an S.
Um,
Think of a tire spinning,
yeah.
revolutions, or anything spinning.
But yeah, but like Reloaded in particular, he's real bad. I don't
Yeah,
know,
he's
right?
like, he's like, it is because I am, and
Yeah.
he like really does. I'm like, he wasn't like that in the first one, was he?
To jump ahead to Revolutions, the guy, the guy that plays Bane,
Yeah,
or wait, it's what is it? It's Bane, right? What is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's Bane.
It just feels weird to call somebody Bane that's not a Batman character.
But it's so funny because that's a really common last name.
I know.
It's like every time I hear
His
it, though, I'm like, your name's Bane.
I don't know. I don't know. Is he actually like? Because he does a. He's either really doing a really good Hugo Weaving impersonation, or they dubbed him.
That's why he got the job because he impersonated him, and they're like, all right, you're perfect, you're doing it.
It is insane.
He's
Like
Australian.
I honestly thought they were dubbing over him at a point. Like
He does
he's
a good
doing-
job.
He has he knows how to enunciate like
Yeah.
his like Hugo Weaving's Smith character. He has it
Yeah.
down absolutely perfect, and I was
Yep.
blown away
Yeah,
by how
that's
good
what he
he
did.
was at
That's
doing
what
it. And it was
how he
one
got
of,
it.
It was one of my favorite parts of Revolution. It was just that thing. I was like, wow, this is entertaining. I really like this.
I love that when he finally fights Neo.
Yeah.
With the electricity, burns his eyes and stuff. They're like, "Oh no, what's he gonna do?" And then it's cool because you can see in the Matrix that he sees it in code.
Yeah.
And then he's like walking towards him, and Bane swings and Neo ducks, and he's like, "I can see you." Then it's all fire, and then it's cool that it's Smith. But it's cool that he can like still. I mean, that obviously shows he's actually the one because even in the real world, he can still see people's fire energy or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. The coolest part, hands down, is Morgan Freeman with a samurai sword and a fucking machine gun. Like because he goes for the sword and he grabs it and you're like, oh yeah. And then I think he drops it a couple of times and he keeps going for it. You're like, when's he gonna pull this out? And then like that shot when he gets up and he's like got them both out and you're from his back on the on ramp and the car's coming, you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna. And he doesn't do much with it, but it's cool. Just that image is cool.
I do like that you called him Morgan Freeman.
Did I?
Yeah.
They have the same initials. And they're both about the same age and black.
To be
Did I
fair,
really?
yes, he called him Morgan Freeman, and I had to think about it for a second. I'm like,
I saw you look confused.
yeah,
I thought you were disputing that was the coolest part, and I was gonna hang up on you.
I am a big fan of any time a sword comes into play in any, in any movie that's like non samurai movies. Like if you bring a katana into
Even then.
play, yeah, samurai movies it's a given, so it's a little like you see it, but like when it's like a white dude or something in some weird action movie, and it's like, oh, he's got a sword. What's he gonna do? And in this one, he like cuts open a van with it. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, do it.
Yeah, he blows it up, like flips over, and then the machine gun pistol.
I remember the MythBusters tried to recreate the two trucks slamming into each other head on MythBusters. That was fun. That's where Matrix was in pop culture at this time.
You had to, you had to actually prove if the science of what happens in the Matrix is real. If that would actually happen. That's the detail, and that's so good. Like the ripple effect on the trailers.
Yeah, it looks, it definitely looks computer, but again, we're in the Matrix, so I can give it an in-universe explanation.
Yeah,
it looks a little wonky, but
I think everything pretty much looks good except for the people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fun little mistake in there when Morgan Freeman stabs the. I mean, I did it again. Lawrence Fishburne stabs the. You can edit that out for me, so I don't sound like a racist.
Absolutely not.
So when he stabs the side of the trailer, and then he stands there so he can pick up the keymaker.
Mhm.
But it's funny because when he stabs it, it's only as far as he can lean. Then when he jumps down, it's like his whole body, and then he pulls it out again. It's up there. Those are good little movie things, so that's okay. There's nothing wrong
I'm trying
with
to remember. What's the name of the now because the two of the characters in this one, and now I'm gonna have to look up Matrix Reloaded and see.
I might know.
Character names because I don't.
I might know.
You probably
The Merovingian.
It's the Jada Pinkett Smith character.
Oh, Naomi.
Naomi. And
She is so cool. She's so badass. Like when she's driving or flying at the end. Oh man, she's so cool. She's in the new one, which I can't wait for.
She is the main character of the video game that we talked about.
Yeah.
Which is it's very interesting because
you like follow her journey to the freeway.
Yeah. Yes, it's exactly what it is. You're following.
Yeah.
So it's really weird because you kind of like this game came out at around. Let's see, the game.
It was in between them.
Yeah, the game came out May 14th, 2003. So this came out the day before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Reloaded came out. So if you got the game early enough and played through it its entirety, you got to see a good chunk of them, like weird alternate angles. Like the movie, because like there are scenes where things are like you're.
I think the meeting in the beginning,
the meeting, and like some of the hallway stuff, and then obviously the finale of the game is on the freeway and stuff.
Yeah,
it's really interesting what they did with that. We talked about it last time. But, it's funny that it's like you have all of these characters back.
They shot at the same time, obviously, just while they were making it. Yeah. They built that freeway, and then they donated the wood to Mexico or something.
I read that. I read that for
which is cool.
Income housing.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
The Wachowskis are really cool. I always thought they were dicks because they didn't want to talk, but then I got a little older and I was like, well, I don't want to talk either. Yeah. and then like everything they say is always like really positive and like inspirational, and they're like don't sound like they're full of themselves or anything.
Yeah.
There's insightful things to say.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense that they wouldn't want to just be out there knowing what we know about them now.
Yeah, and even if that it wasn't it's just like I don't want to talk either.
Yeah, and there's nothing like, and it's one of those things like if our movies can't talk for themselves, then what are we even doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, they said every time they explained it, people would go, "Oh, I thought it was this," and then they're like, "We don't want to mess with that."
Yeah, okay, we're done with this. Yeah, it's not mess with people's perceptions of reality here.
Yeah. Oh no, Naomi's extremely cool, and I love her little background with Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
And God, what's that guy's name? Can't remember the guy. He was in Man of Steel. I know his name. It's like Stone or something. But anyways, their whole little thing's cool because it doesn't really go anywhere, but it kind of adds an extra layer.
Yeah.
And then and I like Z and the kid.
Yeah.
It's funny. Everyone has a name except for the kid. I guess the Neo doesn't care what his name is. Like, whatever. This guy just keeps driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Keeps cock blocking me at every chance. But I like following them because they're like secondary characters, so they could definitely die. Like, you don't think that Morpheus or whatever's gonna die.
Yeah.
But then with them they could, and then it's cool. You're following them separately, and then they meet at the very end of it, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And oh man, the siege is so cool. Like when the swarms of the Sentinels just keep like shooting in, like one after the other. Yeah, so cool.
The Sentinels look way better this time around.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, some years have passed and everything, but
they got Matrix money now.
Yeah, they got that Matrix money now. What did it? How much did Reloaded cost?
I know it made a lot of money.
Yeah, let's see. Budget 127 to 150 million.
Oh yeah,
and that's just for Reloaded. That is not Revolutions, even though they filmed them at the same time. They each have separate budgets.
Yeah,
and Revolutions was 110 to 150 million. So
jeez,
you've got almost $300 million tied up across two movies.
Jeez,
it's insane the drop off from Reloaded to Revolutions.
I think the first week of Revolutions or the second week it drops off like 60% or something.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Oh, but most people I talk to like Revolutions way more than Reloaded. Like that's the one that they like.
But I think it's funny because I was reading and it was like when it came out, when Reloaded came out, it was pretty well received.
Was it?
By critics. It seems like, but it has a cinema score of B+.
Yeah.
which means that, and that's having people give their opinion about it on their way out
Yeah.
of the movie and everything. And B plus is like it's that's kind of significant because most movies don't get lower than an A. There's only been like
Mm.
I forget. There's been 20 movies in history that have gotten Fs. So it's like most movies rank from A plus to A minus. So like
Yeah.
when Rise of Skywalker was a B plus,
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty significant because
Mm.
every Star Wars, even the ones that people don't like, the lowest they got was A minus.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones were all like A minuses and stuff, and
Mm.
this is a B plus, which means a lot of people didn't like Reloaded coming out of it, and word of mouth was
Okay.
probably really bad, and also it came out in a time where a lot of big movies were also coming out, bigger movies were coming out. By the time you get to Revolutions, that's when Fellowship comes out.
Then what, it
2000,
was three? No,
or was it Two Towers? Was
you're
it Two
thinking.
Towers?
I think Return of the King.
Return of
Oh
the
no,
King?
wait.
What?
No,
2000?
you're right. You're right. Two
Yeah,
Towers.
Two Towers.
Because
So it was
Fellowship was 01.
Yeah, November of yeah. So you have and,
It
and
feels like it was the next year because they came out like right before
Yeah.
the end of the year.
yeah. But
Yeah, I don't give a damn about those movies.
You did then.
I did.
So don't try to act like you didn't.
No,
And
never.
you also had
I gave a damn about those. I didn't give a damn about the Matrix.
yeah.
I flopped. My interests have changed.
Matrix Revolutions comes out November 5th. Elf comes out then. Looney
Like,
Tunes back.
we can't compete with Elf.
Can't compete with Elf. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Now I have to look up which. 2003 was Return of the King. Yeah. 2003 was Return of the King. I really thought it was Two Towers, but yeah. But I guess it makes sense that it would have been 2003 because that's when I graduated and that's when we saw Return of the King because we saw Passion of the Christ as well, like back to back with that.
I saw that was on Amazon. I was like, "Oh, watch that again." I was like, "I don't think so."
Yeah, I watched it twice, and that's enough. I watched it with you, and then I watched it with my parents when it came out on DVD.
Ah.
I'm like, that's all I ever need to watch.
Like, I don't remember it necessarily being like. I mean, I remember it being good, but I don't know if it was watchably good.
It's well made, but that doesn't necessarily make something a watchable. So.
Yeah. Like Raging Bull. Like, that was great, but I never have to watch that again.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
2003 was a massive year for movies. There were some big movies that came out that year. That doesn't necessarily mean like
big,
staying power, but
yeah.
Overall, there were some huge movies, and like, I mean, Revolution still did better than, it's still in the top 10 of that year.
Totally, yeah.
Compared to Reloaded, it's like it made almost 300 million less than Reloaded, which is insane.
Well, I mean, what they were doing was, nobody did that where they released the movies 6 months apart from each other.
It's fun. Kill Bill came out the same year.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, came out.
Well, they didn't intend to release those separately.
Yeah, so that's or so we've been told.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure that's true, but yeah. But
as we know about Tarantino's cocaine habit now,
but Reloaded was like the highest grossing R-rated movie for a decade.
Yeah, really.
It
was huge when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember.
It was
obviously being in high school, everybody was super into it. Except for me.
It beat Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and it was the highest grossing R-rated film of all time until Deadpool came out in 2016.
They said Tomb Raider 2 Judgment Day, and I was like, did he just do a Lawrence Fishburne, Morgan Freeman thing there? And I was like, wait, for R-rated movies, I got you.
Yeah.
Man, that was a long-standing R-rated movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a long standing between, but like from Terminator 2 to Matrix, and then from Matrix to Deadpool, it was, it's a decade, but still.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah. That's genuinely impressive.
Yeah.
But it's now like we're at that stage where there's going to be, increasingly more high-grossing R-rated movies going forward. But who knows what the future holds for the film industry? after all of this is said and done. It's gonna
Yeah,
be rough for
I
a
know.
lot of people.
Yeah, I thought that. I was like, I guess this will probably be the end of theaters, but and they've been saying that since TV, and time again,
They
people have
find
proved that they love going to the movies.
people love going to the movies. It's people like having an excuse to get out, and
Hmm.
whether it be for a
And
movie or dinner. It's like you can cook at home, but we still go out for dinner, and you can just watch a movie at home, but we still go out to the theaters.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can watch Phantom of the Opera on stage at home, but
Yeah.
go out to the
Yeah.
theater to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could see it happening, but
I
I
saw
also don't
I
know.
saw Disney was saying it was doing the whole like when theaters start reopening, we may re-release the last two Avengers movies to theaters. As I go, welcome back to theaters, and like, shut up. As much as I absolutely love those movies, it's like, okay, chill out, guys.
Like, let's give them what they want. We need to ensure that we'll make some money, so
Yeah.
let's just put a hit back out there.
Yes, we've had to delay everything till no, like Black Widow was supposed to be out like in a couple of weeks, and
Oh yeah,
now it's fall, and I was actually looking forward to the Scooby Doo movie that was coming out. It looked
yeah,
kind of fun, but it's they're going straight digital, so in like a couple of weeks you'll be able to just buy it digitally, and
yeah.
yeah, all right,
Uh,
fine.
uh, all the movies. Obviously, I'm pissed about Bond, but I am really pissed that Matrix 4 isn't being made. It's
Yeah,
on hold. It's on hold.
yeah.
Well, I remember. I thought I remembered everybody died in the end of this, but no. I mean, Neo's still there, and the and the machines are still there, and the war's just on hold. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot more stuff
Yeah.
that can be done.
Yeah, everything's there's just a ceasefire has been granted
Yeah,
for the
that's it.
thing. Like, yeah,
Which is cool. I thought it was a realistic kind of instead
yeah,
of having just decimating the bad guys. They're still there. They're just not fighting anymore.
yeah.
Well, in the video game scenes, because on the Blu-ray they have all the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
and the little girl Sati that he talks
Mm-hmm.
to in the train station. When the Oracle's talking to Naomi about her, and she says she's going to be very important for the future. So I wonder if that's going to be the fourth one.
Yeah,
Have anything to do with that?
it'd be fun.
I don't know, because she's talking to the Oracle at the very end of it. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole, yeah, I mean, they made sure to shove her in a lot of scenes in
yeah,
this movie. You saw a lot of that little girl,
yeah,
and yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, when you have something as grandiose as this, you know,
yeah.
so
It's funny that little girl's in an Office episode.
Yeah.
I watched a couple days ago, and I was like, "Wait, that's Sati." I had read that she was in it, but I totally forgot.
yeah,
It's a few years later, so she's a little bit older, but it's still funny to see her. Yeah. So I'm very excited for the next one because there's definitely a lot that can be done.
and Carrie Ann Moss is in it, so
Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna be a
She's-
program or
Yeah.
what.
yeah. I mean, it seems like it's like everyone that's like important to the flow of the Matrix is a program in some way, shape, or form. So like
Yeah,
the Oracle and the Architect and the One and all of that are all just like programs.
yeah. So maybe he remakes her as a program or something.
Again, it's Tron. I mean, Tron Legacy proved that you have a million outs when everything involves a computer.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
It'd be funny if they just had young Keanu Reeves in it. Like they actually just bring in actual like 1999 Keanu Reeves like digitally to be still living in the Matrix. And stuff.
Shit, what was I gonna say? Shit, I forgot. Well, Lawrence Fishburne's not in the new one, which is weird because
Yeah.
he's not dead.
Yeah, but I mean, do we know what the time frame is for the new Matrix? I mean,
No.
I mean, between now and then, he could have just died. I mean, it's not that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
died.
And who knows? He could be in it, and they're just not revealing it, or
It wouldn't be a weird secret though. Like, why would you hide it? It's not like
yeah.
It's not like he died. It's not like Carrie,
Keanu Moss actually dies.
who dies in the movie, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, she's back. And you're like, but we
Yeah.
saw her die. It was
Yeah.
it was a crucial part of the one's story that she had to die.
Yeah, totally. Well, again, that's another thing that's kind of funny with the kind of paralleling Star Wars, where it's got the dream of seeing your wife getting killed.
Yeah.
Just funny. I mean, they came out so quickly. There's no
Yeah.
way they could have been ripping each other off.
Yeah.
It's just funny though. Yeah, I don't know if he's I don't know. I mean, yeah, he could have died, or I don't know. He could be out there and they're looking for him, or
it's gonna be like
a million
it's
things.
gonna be like Star Wars: The Force Awakens or something, or he's in the last scene and doesn't have a word, but they did announce that he's in the.
Well, they haven't said he's in it, so they're not trying to tease you with it. Yeah. I know that the Merovingian's in it.
Yeah.
I hope Monica Bellucci's in it.
I'm looking at the cast right now. We got Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, she's in it, which is cool.
Lambert Wilson, which is the Merovingian. Let's see.
Neil
Patrick Harris is in it.
Oh yeah, the great thing is if you love Sense8, pretty much everybody from that show's in it. Looking them up, I'm like, they're on it.
Pantaleano says he wants to return to the franchise. Of course you do.
So you died in the first one.
Yeah. But,
he's also in Sense8.
Died too, so.
Yeah. Maybe it's a Dracula situation with her where he just finds this girl that looks just like her and he wants to bring her into his life.
He creates his own Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yeah, I never know. Oh, Hugo Weaving's not in it, which I mean, you could do a million things, but he did definitely die in that.
Yeah, all 8 billion of them blew up. So
yeah. Oh my god, that fight is so epic.
That is my of the two. That is my favorite part of the movie. Is their final weird rainfall lightning nonsense.
So
fight.
cool.
It's just so visually stunning.
Every time they do the water, whatever that is, like the bubble where it rises up then explodes, they do it like 4 times in a row, and I was like, "Keep doing it. This is so cool. Keep doing it. This is too cool."
It looks incredibly stupid, but also incredibly awesome at the same time. I absolutely loved when he did the slow motion punch.
Yeah, that was cool. In the raindrops.
Cutting through the rain, and then when it makes contact with his face, and just like the way they have his fist just go so deep into his face.
Yeah,
it's very cheesy, but also like, I'm here for this.
Yeah, well, it's cool because since Smith is a robot, he doesn't he says, like, the point of human life is to die, because in his mind you live and then you die, that's all there is to it, which is such a robotic way of thinking. Real quick, and then Neo's thing, he's like, why do you keep going? He's like, because I choose to. Like, that's one thing that they can't understand, which is choice, which I thought was really cool.
Is Smith a just straight up robot, or is it like a program?
I think he's just a program, because they're in the Matrix, so he's just digital, but he's just a program.
It's Tron, where Clue or whatever, just evil program. That's what was Flynn's robot's name in Tron? I always forget. It was like that became him later on, or whatever. Yeah.
Wasn't that Clue? Or no, that was a different one.
Clue? No, it was Clue.
Yeah. CLU,
yeah, CLU, because it was in So it's like it's the same kind of concept of Clue. It's like but it's almost as if Tron Legacy stole a lot of the stuff from the Matrix sequels, which they absolutely did. Tron Legacy really sort of took the concept they had in the Matrix and condensed it down into their Disney version of this, which is perfectly fitting, since they even the original Tron was a reference point for the original Matrix and stuff.
Yeah,
they really doubled down on the kung fu stuff.
Yes, the kung fu style, because like I was gonna bring it up with the wire work, because there's like they jump and they land, there's like no impact, they just like ding, and then they're just off running. Like, come on guys, put a little bit of effort into it.
It's very, and then, like or even like the Chinese, like Hong Kong cinema stuff with like Crouching Tiger, House of Flying Daggers and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it makes more sense in the Matrix that they're so weightless when they're moving around and stuff. Because again, they're just manipulating ones and zeros and doing whatever they need to.
But it doesn't look like that in the first one, though.
No, it doesn't. But so
it just looks hella fake.
Yeah, they got too confident and it suffered a little bit. This really is.
Yeah. And they do the kung fu zoom like a lot, and you're like, okay, guys, this is like second unit was just really going for it on that. And it gets old pretty quick, and you're like, okay. And then the don't know if that's the Bruce Lee, but the Tony the come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
And you're like, okay, guys. I mean, like I said, I mean, there's problems in these for sure, but I mean, for me, but I absolutely love them, even though there's definitely more problems than most movies that I love, but they definitely don't outweigh what's good about it. There's just little kind of things that happens when you shoot for a year straight, which is never really a good idea. And definitely, and making like a 4.5 hour movie is not really a good idea either. Like, and it wasn't presented as that. It wasn't like, here's part one, here's part two.
Yeah.
Like, it should have just probably made it a one movie to watch.
Yeah. Can't get mad at a movie though with exoskeletons. Like power loaders from aliens and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Mifune, that guy's cool.
Yeah. It was a little disappointing that the it was a little sad to have the Oracle change. Like,
yeah.
Because
I mean, that wasn't their fault, of course.
It's not their fault, but it's just always like it is like when you see it's like, that's right, she died, and now
it sucks.
And they have to mention it in the movie, which like that it's different. I'm like, I think you could have just ignored it. Like,
yeah.
You could like, it makes it weirder for some reason.
They explain it more in that video game thing, but yeah, in the movie, yeah. That I was reading something about that. They're like, we either don't say something about it, or we do say something about it. Yeah. But I guess that establishes in the Matrix you can change your image or whatever.
Yeah, it makes no sense why she would. It's just you can. And so she did, and that seems weird. So
yeah, well, she died. I think they said something about she died. She tried to make a deal with the Merovingian, and then she got killed and came back or something. I don't know. I do love the Oracle, just the trusting old sweet wise grandma making cookies.
It's a little controversial because it's something that happens in a lot of movies where when you have the all-knowing sort of there's always in a lot of movies a black character that is to use an offensive term, it's the official term like that people use for it's like the magical Negro kind of thing. Is that what they call it, because you get that in a lot of movies where it's like they're more in touch with things and like they know more and and so it's just sort of becomes a trope that you see a lot of movies do, and it was like, and they just went for it 100% in this. Like, they didn't try to change that concept in any way, shape, or form. It's just this complete sort of Uncle Remus situation that so many movies and stuff do that.
But there's so many black people in these movies. It's not like she's the only one.
Yeah, but at a certain point, there should be like knowing full well that that's a sort of common criticism a lot of movies have. They could have tried something a little different than just the typical trope of that type of character. But, it didn't bother people. I mean, it didn't really bother people that much. It's just like, it's just one of those tropes that would have been nice if you just sort of didn't do it. But you did it, and there's nothing we can do. So.
Well, maybe they did something that most people on the internet don't consider, that they just picked the right actor for the part. Which it is pretty funny talking about diversity in movies. And you look at The Matrix, that is one diverse ass movie, and that is way before that was a thing, or way before it was a hot topic.
The sequels were way more diverse than the original one, but
the original one's got a lot though. It's a racial rainbow.
Yeah, kind of.
You got APOC, you got the Oracle, you got Lawrence Fishburne, you got I don't know if they're all white, but the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar, which they say way too much in the Reloaded.
They make sure to call out every ship's name as much as they possibly can.
Especially the Nebuchadnezzar, which I think on the making of they always call it the Neb, and you're like, yeah, that would have been better because that's a lot of syllables to throw out there all the time. They're like, I think it's when Locke is talking to the council. Is like, what about the Nebuchadnezzar? And they're like, you know what the Nebuchadnezzar is? He's like, we have to stop the Nebuchadnezzar. Like, stop saying Nebuchadnezzar. You guys have said it too many times, driving me crazy.
It's what is Nebuchadnezzar?
It's
a Bible thing.
Yes, I just read it, but I forgot what it was already. I don't know. It's all something. Everything they have is something. Yeah. Which is cool because they take from so many different things in religion and mythology.
Yeah.
Just have a
think it's Book of Daniel or something like that. I don't.
Mm.
I'm not.
Well, if you notice when they go into the club in the beginning of Revolutions, it's called Hell because the P is broken.
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, it's just missing one L. But in Viking mythology, Hell is a place where the dead go, and it's
Yeah.
not like the Christian hell. It's not bad. It's just a place that you go where it's just you're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
It's basically like limbo.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the goal uh, is to not die and they're like or to
or is to go to Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah.
That's the good afterlife. But hell
to-
is just like boring, nothing.
hell is basically purgatory. Like in Christian beliefs, hell is kind of purgatory where it's just kind of nonsense. It's nothing.
Yeah, I
it's
think so.
nothing.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and
not what
Valhalla,
you don't get to fight and then eat all day.
yeah, if you just die a normal death, you go to hell.
Yeah,
It's just
there might be other places. I don't remember anymore, but
I mean, yeah.
it's just a strange coincidence that they have two afterlives with the same spelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That freeway scene is just absolutely killer.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's very cool.
I still like the final fight with Smith and
Oh yeah.
Neo more than the
Oh yeah. Well,
freeway scene.
that one has emotional context. The freeway scene doesn't. It's just cool.
It's fun. It was fun to see Smith get scared, like because it's mostly emotionless, and then like he's actually worried in the fight and everything. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was cool because I'm sure other movies, but definitely for me, like Man of Steel definitely took what they did in that and took it to the next step, or just pretty much the same kind of stuff flying around, but with better special effects. Not that they're bad in The Matrix or anything; they're just not quite 100% yet.
Yeah,
they definitely go for it though in these movies, which is cool. even with the concept of making the one giant movie.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, that was a pretty ambitious idea.
Yeah.
And then like Pirates of the Caribbean did it, and I don't know.
Pirates of the Caribbean came out at the same time as this movie.
Did it?
Yeah. The first Pirates of the Caribbean came out.
I mean the sequels. How they meant the sequel, the next two.
Yeah. Curse of the Black Pearl came out the same year as this.
Oh yeah. So then they're like, hey, let's make our double sequels at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is with movies. They're like, we need a trilogy, so we have one, so let's just shit out the next two. We'll just do it in one go.
Yeah, real kind of. It's never worked. Like
no.
Even in the sense of the Matrix. I mean, look how unsuccessful the experiment was for the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like it may have worked in terms of thematic storytelling, but it certainly didn't work in terms of money made.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, I mean, I absolutely love them, but I don't think it was the best way to go about it. Like, I think those problems that I have with it would have been fixed if they, took it one movie at a time.
Yeah. I think if Reloaded was made independently from Revolutions, you probably would have had a more sound movie, like more like okay, because you're making a movie knowing full well that in 6 months. Anything that you don't wrap up here is going to be wrapped up there. You have no wait time, so have cliffhangers and
setup after setup after setup.
And it's just and every scene is setting up something for the next movie, and it doesn't work. Like because you know full well that you have the next movie to fall back on in just a few months. Because even then, Matrix would have been in theaters for back in this time, it's still 3 months or something.
Probably would have still been in there. Probably would have been replaced by Revolutions.
Yeah, Revolutions by the time it came out, if nothing else, second run theaters are still running Reloaded.
Yeah.
So people don't like to consume necessarily that way theatrically. Maybe at home. Maybe at home people are like, well, that was great, so I'll watch the next one immediately.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But theatrically and stuff, it's proven time and time again that people don't want to consume movies like this. And with this 6 month later thing, it works for the Marvel stuff because each one is its own independent thing.
Yeah.
There's an overarching story or something that's going on, but each movie has its own thing, its own setup, its own. It's not like it is one massive franchise, but it's not like Captain America 2 and Captain America 3 come out 6 months apart. They come out years apart, but in 6 months will be Black Widow or something, and then but it's independent from its own thing. It may be tied in the end by the time you get to that next big one, but this one is just whenever you do these where it's it's just movie 2 and 3 back to back over a course of 6 months. It's never worked. I can't think of a time where it's ever been completely successful.
I get Back to the Future. I don't know,
Back to the Future, but
even then, those are pretty separate movies. I mean, they're
Yeah.
definitely connected, but it's not just the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie on its own for sure.
Yeah.
And Back to the Future 2 is not the best.
I don't think anyone's like Matrix Reloaded is a very bad movie, but I think the Pirates of the Caribbean 2 is worse in terms of being completely unsatisfying.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Yeah, like it is.
I had to shut that one off.
It is so part one of two that it's painful. Like you know, Matrix Reloaded. At least, yes, it's definitely part one of two, but at least there's Matrix stuff going on.
When it's like literally like the first half of the movie, it doesn't try to be its own movie at all.
Yeah, and you just have this. You just because Pirates of the Caribbean 2 has all of these sort of like production of a big, huge summer blockbuster movie. You know, and it just seems like it's all leading up to something, and then have it not. Is like it doesn't feel like it's trying to do exposition. It just seems like it just ends. Like it's like, okay, now we're done. So see you in a few months. And you're like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, because I remember watching Reloaded after I watched the first one and been 20 years, and I was like, let's see if this is good. And then I liked it. And all these things I thought about it were so good. And then I watched the second one, and I was like, all that stuff that I loved wasn't there. And then I was like, what the hell happened with this movie? And then I watched Revolutions. I was like, ah. And then I watched Reloaded again. I was like, now I get it. Now I understand what they were doing here.
Yeah. Anything you want to talk about with the Matrix movies from here on out?
I had something. I have two things. I have something in Matrix, and I have something that's completely unrelated, but I always think of it when I watch a movie.
Okay.
And I'm going to text you or something, but I've already started my movie.
Okay.
I don't remember what the Matrix thing was. It was something with the B. Oh, it's funny when it's to be continued because, I mean, it is, if you need any more evidence that it's just one movie, the Revolution starts and you're just continuing right where you were. There's no like intros. There's no like long kind of reveal shots. It is just right where you left off. You're just continuing right where you were.
And I do love that you get a post-credits trailer for Revolutions.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, at the end of the movie, there is a trailer for Matrix Revolutions after the credits. There's a post-credits scene, and it's just a trailer for Revolutions showing scenes. I was like, I wonder if they did that. Because, people think that's sort of a modern sort of Marvel thing where these post-credit scenes, they've been doing it for forever.
They did it on Back to the Future. And
Ferris Bueller's Day Off had a bonus scene after the credits. Wayne's World.
You're forgetting the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah?
Masters of the Universe.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
It is.
Very good one. And, like, one of my favorites, Buckaroo Banzai, does it for us. Both of those movies that we just talked about are teasing us sequels that never happened.
I'm still waiting on that Masters of the Universe one.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for Buckaroo Banzai versus the... But
those bastards holding us hostage for 10 minutes to look at all these names they don't give a goddamn about.
Yeah, and Disney animated movies did it all the time too. Like Aladdin has some stuff post credits and stuff like it's just, and so like it's not surprising that they did that. But it's just Disney definitely stole the idea of like we'll just put the trailer for the next movie because I think they did that with the first Captain America movie. After the end of the first Captain America movie, they just have a trailer for the Avengers.
I thought it was Nick Fury talking to him when he was boxing.
But it cuts into
other
scenes. Yeah,
I haven't seen it since in the theater. So, well, I definitely like that it evolved into the mid-credit scene because you don't need much. You just need like a fade to black and the music to go, and then you show a scene. Then you go, okay, this is a little separate thing.
I like it
like
when
Prometheus does it well.
I like it when they do the initial credits, which are usually the fancy credits with like the music and the names, and then when those are over,
I also like that. The credit scene isn't the beginning anymore; it's at the end, which is a good way to kind of digest the movie. And anyways.
So it's after the fancy credits, and then after the scene, it goes to the normal. Like, here's the 4,000 people that did the visual effects for this movie. At some studio in Korea or something.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it because extra scenes are cool, but when you're held hostage, it's just a dick move.
Yeah, because things like and like sometimes they'll put a scene even after that, and it's usually just like a comedy scene or something.
Yeah.
Like something like it's nothing. Like okay, that this and you're like okay, this one's on me. I knew that this was gonna happen.
Yeah, some movies you're like, fuck it, it's not worth waiting for
Yeah.
this. But this is a good segue into my unrelated thing. Now it's related.
Okay.
Remember back in the old days when you watch a movie and you just get one production logo before the movie started
Yeah.
instead of like 5 like some
There's
movie
like,
now,
yeah.
and you're like,
You've got the directors. The director typically has his own production company, so you get their logo. You usually how things are. You get one of 3 logos. You get the Fox, the Disney, or the Sony.
yeah,
MGM.
yeah, you get
sometimes.
the main studio.
Main studio, and then you get like the distribution company's logo, and then you get it's the Tommy Wiseau effect where he has like
2 logos.
He's got so many logos, and
Tommy's World.
like, Tommy's World, and he's just flipping through them and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the way to do it, because it's annoying when they all have their stupid little fucking graphic that their cousin made, and then they have music with it each, and then you're like, ugh. But the way to do it is either just have it silent and just show the logo, or have music from the movie and just show the end logo. Don't show the whole little animation thing of it, or like I guess Man of Steel's on my mind. That movie, you know, they tie it in like with their style and stuff, and you know they all and like in the Dark Knight movies do that too, and that's a cool way to do it.
I like it when the main studio logo they conceptualize it to what the movie's doing or whatever. Like
they used to be the mark of a good movie, but then it like became really easy, so now everybody does it, which is cool, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie anymore.
Universal used to do it a lot, where they sort of manipulated the Universal logo to be
sort
of like oh, this is a period piece, so we're gonna use the logo from the like Joker does that, or it's like we're gonna use the studio logo.
Zodiac does that.
Yeah, like we're gonna use the Warner Brothers logo from the late '70s, and we're gonna do like that. I like that stuff. But
or Gladiator, it's like sepia tone.
I always really liked for the X-Men movies when the Fox logo disappears and the X
stays around
just a half a second longer.
Yeah,
that was cool. Really cool. It's dumb, but I like it a lot.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, they go out of the way in that movie to point out every single X that is around. Like in the last, well, not the last one because I haven't seen that, but the one before that, the Apocalypse, when they like throw the steel bars and it makes the X, like they're always going for the X in those movies.
It's they are trying to be as X-Men-y as possible, especially some of these later ones that people don't typically like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix.
Apocalypse was cool
because like I don't know, I like those ones because they're super comic booky. They're really
good.
They're really fun, and they're having fun with the idea of comic book heroes and stuff. So and sort of trying to make them visually more exciting than a lot of other comic book movies are trying to do. But
everything is dead serious.
That's the thing. Like comic books, like especially Marvel comics, tend to be a little more light, and so they try to shove too much of that into the Disney stuff.
Oh yeah. It's a fine line for sure.
It's a fine line. I mean, it doesn't bother me so much, but there are certain movies where it's like, you could have done without this or that.
You want to know what strikes the balance perfectly? Spider-Man. The original Sam Raimi Spider-Man strikes that balance perfectly.
The thing with those Spider-Man is like Sam Raimi's really good at, his like serious,
everything he does.
Yeah, like well, for the most part.
For the most part, he's a great director.
Yeah, so like being able to, like, he's always been humorous. Like Evil Dead 2 is a serious horror movie with a big sense of humor.
Yeah.
But, Army of Darkness went too far in the sense of humor part, but
way too far.
I still enjoy it, but it is a little too silly. But it's still good. And it works really well for Spider-Man because Spider-Man books have always been a hybrid of very funny and deathly serious. And a lot of times the humor is supposed to be like, because Peter Parker is a character that's hurt. He's really hurt. It's like Batman. He has this responsibility because he kind of in a way was responsible for the death of his uncle, and he feels that way. So like him trying to make light of this very serious situation when he's fighting and being funny and stuff. Like they don't do that part in the movies, like when he's fighting and cracking jokes and stuff. They don't really do
It's a
that
little
that
bit. It's a
much.
little bit.
Not barely. They more do it to Peter Parker proper. Like when he's not Spider-Man is when the humor comes out of things and stuff. So
Yeah.
the modern Spider-Mans actually do it, like the Sony Marvel ones, the Tom Holland Spider-Mans.
Oh yeah.
Are probably closer in like tone to what like a '90s comic book Spider-Man would be. So.
Well, I always think that the best comic book adaptions are the ones that don't necessarily like do word for word from the book. They just kind of make their own, take bits and pieces, because that's kind of what comics are anyway.
Yeah.
There's so many writers involved.
But like the first Spider-Man movie is very much just the comic
that's true.
books.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Almost none of the Marvel ones, like none of the Disney Marvel ones, like outside of conceptually being comic books, there's so few times where they're really going for adaptions. Like the Infinity War stuff is so vaguely, and Civil War are just so vaguely what they were doing in the comics and stuff. Like the X-Men ones are kind of touch more in comic book stuff than the Disney Marvel ones. The DC ones are mostly always never anything. They're just
totally.
They are never adaptions of comic book stories. Never
happen.
It's always weird, like because there is like Wonder Woman is about as close as you get to following a comic book sort of continuity for the most part. It's weird, but that's another one that I'm sad.
Totally.
Wonder Woman 84 not
84.
It's funny because the machine is in motion and they can't stop it. So when you go to the store right now, you are being inundated with Wonder Woman merchandise. It's like, here's Doritos with Wonder Woman on them. Here's the Wonder Woman Lego sets. Here's like candy with the Wonder Woman logo. It's like there's Wonder Woman stuff everywhere, and it's just like.
You're like, what's this for? I don't know. Wonder Woman's cool. I'll get some Doritos.
Yeah. It's like the machine's in process. We can't stop it. You could, but it's like, well, whatever. It's still gonna be there when the movie hits theaters.
Are they gonna keep producing that stuff, or do it again when the movie comes out?
I just think they're gonna keep producing that stuff because the Ghostbusters merchandise is starting to roll out, like toys and stuff. That were supposed to be part of the new movie that's coming out very soon, but none of that's happening. But you're starting to see toys hit shelves and stuff.
Yeah. Wonder Woman just becomes the logo for Doritos after a while.
Yeah, just everyone just becomes.
It just becomes synonymous.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman Doritos.
That would be so good. I'd be so in for that. Just it's like Peter Pan peanut butter, Wonder Woman Doritos, and
the Indian on the butter.
Yeah.
Which I guess they took off.
Yeah.
I guess that's one thing they decided to do right now.
There's nothing more hilarious than seeing people get angry about it. Like,
it's gone.
That it's gone, and they say the most like insane things. Like, we were a Land O'Lakes family, but no more. Like, what do you mean? What? No. What?
You're like, wait, does the butter taste the same? Okay, that's all I care about.
Yeah, but it's like nobody's a Land O'Lakes family unless you're
we only buy one kind of butter.
Yeah, unless your husband. You know what butter our family goes for? Whichever one's on sale.
Yeah. Whatever Costco has.
Yeah. This one is $4.99. This one's $1.99. So guess which one? I'm getting 2 of these.
It's like, I don't know. People felt so strongly about their butter.
Yeah. It's sometimes it just feels like we're stuck in a Simpsons episode.
Yeah. It's like I imagine that Indian chick was churning all this butter every time I ate it. Yeah. Now that I can't have that fantasy, I don't even want to eat this crap anymore. I never liked the butter. I always just liked the picture of the slutty Indian.
Just the most insane. Like, it's just people are. Oh God. It's like.
I blame the internet for giving them all a voice.
Everyone now has an opinion, and everyone's insane. So,
and they all want you to hear it.
Yeah, and thanks to social media, everyone has an equally loud voice. So
I know it's always funny when it's like, there's outrage on the internet. Here's a couple quotes from some random dipshit from Ohio. And you're like, why does this count as outrage?
Yeah, some jackass in a red state somewhere had some vulgar tweet that got liked and retweeted 478 times, and all of a sudden that's
some inbred alcoholic rapist motherfucker had this to say about it.
Yeah. It's like, please, free me from all of this.
That's why I that's why I'm not on there. I mean, I'll see stuff, we'll get wrapped up into it, and good thing I'm not on social media because I would have something to say about it and think my opinion was important enough to retype for everybody.
Oh man, what was I just
My wife just has to hear all my rantings about some stupid ass thing I read for the day.
I just wish there was a button I could click to opt out of being yelled at, to like stay home, we're all in this together, wash your hands. Like, I'm doing fine. I don't need to be reminded every time I open up Spotify or YouTube that to stay home and to wash my hands. I'm doing good. I've got it under control.
I saw it on the back of a bus when I was driving without a mask on, and I saw that it said like stay home or something. I saw that someone showed me that John Carpenter retweeted some picture with Snake Plissken that said Snake Plissken social distancing since 1984 or whatever.
He's been retweeting a lot of funny like social distancing stuff. He's kind of fun on Twitter.
If I never hear that phrase again, I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Although I have been drinking my disinfectant, so I'm corona free.
I've
been following the president's orders and eating cheeseburgers and drinking disinfectant and crapping out giant logs that back up my toilet.
Yeah, it's 75% Clorox, 25%. I puncture a hole in the side of a Lysol can and shotgun it.
It's like it's Lysol in the morning, Clorox for dinner, and maybe OxyClean as a snack.
I feel like you could just eat like a bag of sugar-free gummy bears, and that will it's the same thing as drinking a Windex. It's gonna clean out your entire system.
Have the hand sanitizer with Mexican food. Have the hand sanitizer with the pump and just straight into your mouth. It's like some stupid kid candy thing that has a big old gimmick to it.
Yeah, or like a hamster cage with a little big water bottle that they just run up to. That's our lives now.
Yeah. Just the age where don't listen to what the president said. Just disregard what the leader of the free world said.
Yeah, he was being sarcastic. He said.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was very bad sarcasm.
Yeah, like we've heard him be sarcastic a lot, and this certainly wasn't it.
Yeah.
I love his misspelling of hamburgers.
Yeah. And him not knowing clearly what a Nobel Prize is.
Or how to spell it.
Like, he corrected everyone and was wrong, and it's the funniest thing in the world.
For some reason, I'll wake up and look at my phone and I'll read that stuff, and I'm like, I can't read Trump shit first in the morning.
I'm blocked by him on Twitter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he legally can't block people anymore, so you can get back on there. If you want to. If you want to.
I'm very happy that the most famous people that have blocked me on Twitter are the President of the United States and Hulk Hogan. So.
Who, they're friends.
Yeah. Donald Trump, WWE Hall of Famer. Like,
Is
come
he?
on. Yes, absolutely.
I knew if God, who was that? Is that Arquette?
David Arquette?
Yeah.
Former WCW Weird Heavyweight Champion, David Arquette.
Yeah, and who's the chick, the Menonez or whatever?
Marina Menounos?
Yeah. I knew if those two were, then Trump is definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was integral in the main event of a WrestleMania, and he took a Stone Cold Steve Austin Stone Cold Stunner. So he got beat up in the WWE. He's been a character in the WWE.
I bet that's on his special skills on his resume.
Yeah, Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE, his wife was part of his cabinet for a while. So they're very good friends. Very, very good friends.
I saw a thing that Howard Stern said Trump supporters should drink disinfectant and kill themselves. Get out of here.
Yeah. Look, there's some people that I wouldn't slap the bottle out of their hand if I saw them doing it. So.
No, there's plenty of people I would pour it down their throat if they wanted me to, or even didn't want me to.
You need some help? You need some help with that? I got a bottle of my own if you need some more.
All right, what movies came out that year?
The top 10 movies of 2003. Number 1, Return of the King, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, Finding Nemo. Made $871 million worldwide.
Jesus.
Number 3, Matrix Reloaded. with
No.
$742 million. Number 4 was Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
The only thing cool about
654.
that movie is Davy Jones. He's very cool looking.
That's the sequel. Davy Jones is the sequel.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant. Yeah, never mind.
This is the first one.
The first Pirates is good. The first Pirates is good.
I would say the first Pirates is actually a very, very good movie.
It's a good movie, yeah.
It's a very fun adventure movie.
It's good. The only thing I don't like about it is you get the big action scene with the ghost pirates, which is cool, and then you get another action scene, and you're like, okay, guys, just do this wedding and get it over with.
Number 5, Bruce Almighty.
Oh, yeah.
That made 400.
That's why I was thinking Morgan Freeman, because I knew that came out the same
Yeah,
year as this
okay.
movie, so
Sure.
that's why it was related.
$485 million. Number 6, The Last Samurai.
That's a movie that it's on Netflix, and I wanted to revisit because Edward Zwick was a director I loved, and then I watched his movies a little older and realized they're pretty over the top. He's pretty heavy-handed. And
He did Glory, right?
he did Glory.
Yeah. Boy, that's
Blood Diamond, Legends of the Fall,
Yeah.
which I think might still be good. I don't know. And
that?
other movies. But they're always pretty heavy-handed. He
Jack
directed the
Reacher.
second Reacher movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jack Reacher, Never Go Back.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Not nearly as good as the first one, but it's good.
He wait, what? He created the story for The Great Wall.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that movie, but man, that is something else.
I kind of want to just because everything I've heard, but
Yeah, it's insane.
yeah,
It's not good, but it is like weirdly watchable because of how insane the movie is, and like it. And Matt Damon is at the. It's like it's mostly Asian people, but you have Matt Damon, Pedro Pascal, and Willem Dafoe in it, and it's like what? But,
well, what we got? We're on number 7 now.
yeah, we are number 7, Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines.
Yeah, I think all these movies you've mentioned I saw at least once.
I remember the only thing I remember really from Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines is the graveyard scene, where he's got the casket on his shoulder.
Oh, and the Gatling gun in there.
And the Gatling gun.
The pull of Django on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to watch that a little bit ago, and I was like, "This is too stupid." Even to watch for a dumb like Arnold movie, it's not Raw Deal because Raw Deal's a great dumb Arnold movie.
Yeah.
That movie's really bad.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a Raw Deal.
Yeah. Number 8 is The Matrix Revolutions.
Oh.
It made $427 million. So as you can see, 742 to 427, not a great.
No.
And I don't know why, because I mean, that you would think that number would be least like Pirates of the Caribbean numbers and stuff, because it is the finale. You would
I guess,
yeah. It's so weird that it dropped so hard. But again, people just saw one, and it's like, I don't know if I have it in me to see another one right now.
I mean, with Lord of the Rings, it was a full year apart, and a year's a long time, so that was good.
And it would have come out at around the same time as Lord of the Rings, like Return of the King.
Yeah.
Number 9 is X2, X-Men United.
Oh yeah, which is not on the movie.
It
does not say that in the movie.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist when you buy them now. It's just like it's like they like shoved that on like 2 weeks before the movie came out the theaters, and then like after the movie came out, like the DVDs had it on at first, and now it's just X2 again.
Oh, good. I remember it being on all my Diet Dr. Pepper cans that I drank that summer.
I
X-Men
like
2, X-Men United.
I like X2 a lot because it's sort of an adaptation of one of my favorite X-Men comics, God Loves, Man Kills.
Oh, yes.
And it's a very great Marvel X-Men comic, and it's not a one-to-one adaptation, but
no, it's
much
pretty,
like with everything else,
big.
The heart of it is basically the same. I really like God Loves, Man Kills.
That movie's killer because the first one's probably my least favorite of the X-Men movies. And except for 3. Except for 3.
It's not.
I'm not counting that damn thing.
I don't like X3 and I don't like Wolverine Origins. So
it's my least favorite of my favorite of the ones I like. Because 2 really goes there and really takes what they built on the first one and just dives into that world in a very, very good way.
It is 100% what the X-Men are, where it's dealing heavily with, sort of, the racism and stuff, and doing that stuff. That's really good. Stryker in the comics is a televangelist, as opposed to a military guy. But his plot and execution are almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And his like goal is still to get Xavier to kill the mutants.
Yeah.
Magneto partners up with the X-Men to save Xavier, and then just tries to
Yet
manipulate.
again.
It's exactly the same as
Yeah.
and so it's a really
it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. And number 10 is Bad Boys 2.
I definitely saw that movie.
Yes. I mean, 2003 is a good year for a lot of that stuff.
I endured that movie. No, I love and hate that movie because pretty much like anything Michael Bay does, the good scenes are great and then the crappy scenes are really crappy.
Yeah.
And this one's kind of especially on both of those because like the action scenes are so over the top but so satisfyingly awesome with the little boy inside me.
Yeah.
It's like playing with my toys and like this movie does that in a very R-rated way where people are getting cut in half with machine guns and stuff.
Very boring year for like award season and stuff because it's all Lord of the Rings, Mystic River, Monster, Lost in Translation. Like those are the big movies of the year.
Yeah. That's kind of when the Academy Awards were going for independent movies. So that's when you were starting to get movies that no one saw.
Yeah.
Or at least to my age, all these movies win, and you're like, I didn't see any of these.
At the BAFTA Awards, Best Director was Peter Weir for Master and Commander and The Far Side of the World.
Well, it's a killer movie.
That is one of those movies that just sort of like poof, gone. Like
yeah. It wasn't very big.
It wasn't very big. Out. Like I remember being very excited for it for some reason. Sometimes a good nautical tale is sometimes just needed. Like people like Mutiny on the Bounty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes those kinds of stories are just fun, and I really like Master and Commander.
I remember liking it in the theater, and then I saw it on video, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Me and my dad walked in. I think it was Sunday morning-ish, almost noon. And we walked in, and it was like full. Like only seats were in the front, and then I was like, "Let's just come back." And did something for a couple hours and came back. Like I'm not gonna sit in the fucking front row and try and watch this.
That weird Willard movie came out this year.
Yeah, the rise and fall of Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover's return and subsequent disappearance from Hollywood.
Redisappearance. I guess you probably know this is a Back to the Future fan, but he always wanted like 5 takes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, you got it on the second one. He's like, well, Brando got 5 takes. And they're like, well, you're not Brando.
Yeah. And they're in no universe, my man. Are you Brando?
No. Just not you or anyone else can change my mind. He was actually in this cool miniseries called Texas Rising. And he was really good. And he wasn't typical Crispin Glover. Like when you watch this movie called River's Edge or something with, I think Keanu Reeves is in it, and Crispin Glover. And Crispin Glover is so Crispin Glover. And he's like, okay, man. And you're like, you always like this?
You're my density.
Yeah, it works on that because he's supposed to be a dweeb.
Yeah.
And he is.
Phone Booth came out this year. Remember Phone Booth?
I do. I liked Phone Booth, and I've wanted to revisit because I'm like, I wonder if that's as good as I remember it.
Identity. That was a huge movie when that came out for some reason.
Oh, yeah, that was a good, for our age, that was a good, like, little thriller, kind of scary, sophisticated, scary movie.
It comes across as a, like, my first thriller kind of thing. Like, it's very...
I remember liking it, though.
Yeah, I remember liking it, but it's just one of those things, like, I have no idea if that holds up in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no. Like that and that movie Basic with Sam Jackson, and then I discovered what Rashomon was, and I was like, oh... And then they really try to mess with you at the end of that movie. And you're like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Oh, man. I should watch Rashomon again. I love Rashomon.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, but I do like it.
Whale Rider. Too Fast, Too Furious came out this year.
We didn't know what groundwork they were laying, but it was before our eyes, and we had no idea what.
We had no idea that this wonderful cinematic universe was being developed.
We didn't know what roads they were going to travel.
Cars.
Yep.
Hollywood Homicide.
Oh, that's the first movie, and only out of 2 that fell asleep in because it was really bad. Well, people always do that. They're like, "Oh, it must have been bad. I fell asleep." Like, well, you can just be tired, right? Like,
Yeah.
I fell asleep the first time I watched Heat because I was so tired. Clearly, had nothing to do with the movie itself.
I have
Die Hard
fallen
4.
asleep.
Die Hard 4. I went to sleep because it was
Yeah.
so stupid.
I have fallen asleep during Ghostbusters. Like that doesn't mean I feel like that's my movie.
Yeah. You're just tired. It has nothing to do with what you're watching.
Ang Lee's Hulk came out this year.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I had to see that at midnight
Okay.
because I was going. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to see that movie at midnight because I was going to my cousin's wedding that was in Whistler,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be able to see it for like a week or whatever. So I went then to go see it. I chose to see it then.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Never saw that one.
It's very bad. It's the movie
Yep.
that ended Sean Connery's career.
That's the movie that
On
Sean
his own.
Connery was like, I don't get this, but the last 2 times I said that,
Yeah.
they were big hits, so I'm gonna do it.
You know what? I'm just gonna end it on the only important movie that came out this year. I think this will be the final note for movies of 2003.
Well, I do want to say for the record, I love Mystic River.
Okay.
I didn't say that, but I love that movie.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
seen it once. I never went back to it.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I loved it at the time. Anyways.
But in 2003, a little independent film known as The Room came out.
We didn't know about it for a
We
while.
didn't know about it for years, but
Oh god, we should do The Room.
we should do The Room.
I thought about it today.
does
For some reason, and I was like, we should watch that. And I'm like, I can't watch that by myself. You gotta watch that with somebody.
It's definitely you either have to watch it with somebody or watch it and then immediately talk about it with somebody. Like, watch it and then we have to do this show immediately. We should just when all of this is said and done, we should just watch it together and then do an old school in-person show together.
You know what we should do? We should ask Tommy if we can use it and watch it while we're watching it and commentate on it.
Hell yeah.
Because if you get his approval, you're good, right?
He answers every email himself. So
he's got nothing else going on.
Especially now.
He's illegally selling jeans.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's going to wrap it up for this time around. We talked about The Matrix. We talked about movies. We talked about other bullshit.
I talked about my gripe on too many production logos.
Yeah.
That's the one I really want to get off my chest.
Yeah, and then we bookend it with Tommy Wiseau. So there you go.
I freed myself of that thought.
I don't know what movie we'll do next. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that we love.
Yeah. Something you love. Yeah. I love The Matrix, but you don't. So.
Yeah, exactly.
You picked it, though. You picked it.
I picked it because I hadn't seen the sequels, so I figured it would have been fun.
I gave you a chance.
So you give it a roaring thumbs up. I give it a thumbs up.
I love it.
I give it a thumbs in the middle. I don't say I hate it, but I'm probably not going to go back to them anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Reloaded has its problems for sure. But like I said, all the things that are a problem, like all the dialogue scenes, all action scenes are good. They the actions are too long and they're too close together, and the talking is just there's too many scenes next to each other. It just needs to be split up a bit. But they're all really good scenes. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they packed all of the exposition into one movie, and then all the resolution in the next movie. And
which is one movie. Which is one movie. Like that makes sense. Act 1 is 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So it makes sense in that context.
That sucks, though. It sucks as a long-term one movie. It still sucks.
Yeah.
To have to slog through the exposition to get to the last one of all of the action. Yeah.
Like I said, I like it all, but that's not the way to do it. But I enjoy it. But it's they could have done it better.
Overall, it's fine.
I still love it. I mean, I've watched I think those two more than I have the first one.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time. Enjoy yourselves. Take care. And
drink plenty of disinfectant.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, drink your Lysol, and keep your stick on the ice.
This Lysol is Banaka, just...
Banaka, old mouth spray. Yeah, there we go. That's how to stay safe and get out of here alive. Yeah.
Listen to the president and drink plenty of bleach.
Yeah. It's good times for all. Thanks again for listening to us just ramble on for another 5
Just talking. Just talking.
Just talking.